content all the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Again, I'm going to remain impartial during this time.
Of course. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
It's a good moment.
But, I would like to welcome everyone right now who's watching on Facebook. This is the debut episode of The Court of Public Opinion. And today it is Cats v. Dogs right there. I'd like to introduce you to your two debaters. First off, coming to us from Toronto, Alastair Forbes, please introduce yourself.
Hello. Yes, I'm Alastair Forbes. I'm an enthusiastic debater. I'm a cat enthusiast, and I have a Bachelor of Arts honors from Queen's University, which of course qualifies me for this debate.
Wonderful. Thank you for being a part of this. And your opponent, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Connor Thompson. I'm also in Toronto. Happy to be here today. Thank you, Jay, for having me. I'm excited to be debating with my esteemed opponent, Alastair. I'll be arguing in favor of dogs. What qualifies me for that is I own a dog myself. I've owned dogs forever. I also have a Bachelor of Arts honors from Queen's University.
Yes.
Alastair and I went to the same university. We overlapped, but we weren't friends.
We were not friends, no. But we both got honors, and that's how we sign our checks. BAH.
Exactly.
And I respect the fact that you both neither are friends with each other. Like you've maintained that.
Definitely not friends, but I do respect him.
Absolutely. I respect his ability to speak words.
Thank you. That's very nice. Thank you.
Alastair, as the proponent of cats, the floor is open to you for your opening argument.
Ladies and gentlemen, my esteemed debate partner, Connor, and of course, the Honorable Jay. Today, I'm here to argue in favor of cats over dogs. It's a classic debate and one that has raged for millennia, we all know. The argument basically boils down to this. Dogs are filled with love and cats are filled with evil. This is true. And while they say you should always cook with love, it is in fact the evil inherent in cats that make cats taste better than dogs. Exhibit A, and this is what I'm going to prove. Exhibit A. The Sphinx in Egypt is a monument proving cats have been enjoyed as a delicacy for millennia. But Alastair, the Sphinx is just a monument. Well, in 2006, archaeologists discovered that what we've all suspected, that the Sphinx was not just a monument, but a large barbecue for cats. Okay? Exhibit B. Sure, we've been eating cats for millennia, but why do they taste better than dogs? Great question. Well, dogs are a gamey meat, even in the tastiest breeds like the fatty pug, right? Cats are a lazy animal, sitting around 18 or 19 hours a day, so their meat is always marbled with the fatty goodness one associates with a prime cut of protein. And a dog is always up for physical exercise in the form of a walk. The cat will always refuse a walk, knowing that the walk would affect the quality of their meat. That's why their evil nature makes them better ground round, because cats want us to eat them, which is morally evil. And I know what my revered colleague Connor is going to say. Dogs are the tastier meat, and I should know I've been growing one in my house for the past 3 years. Well, Connor, personal preference is only anecdotal evidence, and that should be enough to give you pause. In conclusion, and in the words of famous cat meat purveyor Tony the Tiger, yes, indeed, Frosted Flakes are made of cat. Feline steaks aren't just good, they're great.
That's an interesting tactic that you took there,
Thank you.
but I really respect it. Connor, your opening statements.
Certainly. Thank you again, Jay, for having me. Alastair, it was going to be a pleasure to debate you, but it seems you have completely misunderstood the point of the debate. I don't believe we were intended to debate the tastiness of meats. So I'm going to carry on with my argument and possibly just expose your natural barbarism along the way. So dogs and cats, Alastair is right. The debate has raged for millennia. In fact, we can trace this argument back into the earliest recesses of humankind. We'll start with ancient Egypt, as Alastair brought up. Sphinxes, of course. The Egyptians were known for worshiping and idolizing their cats. Mummified cats were found in tombs. They were represented in art and legend. They often stood in for the gods in their myths and legends as well. And the pharaohs also, kept them commonly as companions, protectors, and stuff like that. The question I want to ask you today is, where are those pharaohs now? Well, they were wiped out, weren't they, along with all their religion. So it's not specious, I think, to reason that if you throw in with cats, as Alastair has, your entire civilization will fall. We can look at dogs as well. Dogs were domesticated not long after the advent of humankind itself. In fact, and this is true, some anthropologists believe that humankind, in observing the behavior of wolf packs, the ancestors of modern dogs, learned themselves how to travel and hunt in packs. So dogs taught humankind how to form societies. So let's look at this. Worship cats, run with cats, your civilization will die. Dogs literally helped found modern human societies. If you want more evidence, I present to you some actual scientific facts, again, along the lines of what I think the debate was meant to be, which Alastair has clearly misunderstood. I have a question for you, Jay, and the esteemed audience. How many animals do you think that cats are responsible for murdering every year in the continental United States alone? I'll give you the answer. The answer is every year, this is true, domestic cats kill between 1.6 and 3.7 billion birds. They also kill between 6.7 and 20.7 billion mammals, mice, shrews, rats. So it's not unreasonable to say that cats are, in fact, the greatest murderers of all time. They may be the most villainous, vile creatures ever to live. And what do dogs kill? Only bad moods. That's right. If we skipped to over the dog side of things, you are far more likely to survive a heart attack if you own a dog. That is true. Dogs lower cholesterol, they lower blood pressure. Your heart will be healthier if you own a dog. And if you are, unfortunate enough to have a heart attack, but you also own a dog, you're more likely to survive it, probably because dogs innately know CPR. That is absolutely true. I can go on, but I think I'm out of time. I have a number of other arguments, but for now, I'll turn it back over to Alastair. I think the fact is very clear that dogs are the superior animal in every way. Cats bring down civilizations, dogs found civilizations. And if, for example, you were to have a heart attack, would you rather have a dog in the house or a cat? The dog who will go outside and flag down a passerby with yips and barks and lead them back to your side, therefore saving you, or a cat who will sit just outside your field of vision and wait for you to die so it can eat your face. Indeed, if we are talking about edible meats, the most edible meat a cat, I think, can ever envision is the flesh of its owner. So I think that's a scientific fact as well. And I'm excited to carry on with this debate. So thank you for having me.
Wonderful. I think those are two very different techniques for that opening argument right there. And if we want to have some of our public go ahead and in the comment section, please put who you think, based on what you heard in the opening arguments, who do you think has won this first round? A very interesting technique. Connor coming straight out of the gate with facts and sticking to a premise, and he held to that premise true, and he had many facts, very logical. Alastair took the, I think some might even say the opposite approach, and he started arguing the value of eating. I'm sorry, it gets me very emotional to be back in the courtroom.
We are remaining impartial on this, yes?
Yes, 100%. Thank you for that. So go ahead and in the comment section, please put who you think, based on this first of several rounds, is winning right now. Is it Connor or Alastair? Go ahead and put that into the comment section. And right now, many compliments on both of your arguing skills. But it seems right now Connor has a few more on his side. But Alastair, it's very early right now, and we move on to round two. And round two is where you get to poke holes in the argument of your opponent. Now, may I remind you, poke holes in only what they said. Don't poke holes in any other type of argument that's been presented. So, Alastair, I'll give you the floor first. Please refute Connor's opening statements.
Okay, well, I mean, it pains me to do this, but to such an honorable opponent, but I have to point out a very obvious logical fallacy that Connor is employing. It's, of course, the moving the goalpost fallacy. This debate is about which animal has the tastier flank steak, not which one is better to take care of while their meat is growing. I'll even concede right away that dogs are, of course, make better pets. They're far more loving. But the issue at hand is which one tastes better. And I'll tell you that when pets get older and go to that great farm in the sky, Well, I've been to that farm, and their cat steaks are awesome. And I also just want to respond to you saying that cats, of course, eat human beings, waiting to eat the flesh of their owners. That's very true. I once interviewed an ambulance driver for a show I was doing, and they were saying that once people die, dogs will wait up to a week before they panic and then eat the rotting flesh of their owners, where cats will almost start immediately eating their dead owners, which is very true. And let me go even further and say the Champawat tiger, a very famous tiger, was responsible for an estimated 436 human deaths before it was hunted and killed. There is no single dog or wolf on Earth that has been recorded killing more than one human. And of course not. We barely eat any dogs. They're gross, so they don't attack us. Cats are a worldwide dinnertime delight, so of course they're looking for revenge. Connor, in pointing out how cats eat humans, is just bolstering my argument. Cats are looking for revenge on us eating them by eating us.
It's an interesting take from the man who is defending the cats, but I'm sure much appreciated. Again, in the comments section, please, if you appreciate what your debater has said, go ahead and give them some hearts, some likes, and continue to update who you think is going to win this. Connor, the floor is yours to refute Alastair's opening statement.
Thank you, Jay. Again, I have to point out, first of all, that I believe Alastair himself is employing a certain, a rhetorical technique here in order to shift the focus of the debate onto a subject that he wishes it were about, which is the tastiness of cats versus dogs, which we are not here to debate. We're simply here to debate their merits. Now, he has chosen, again, to subtly shift the topic, which is a classic argument of someone who really has no leg to stand on whatsoever. But you know what? I'll play his game for a moment. I'll play his game. So I just want to ask Alastair a question, if you don't mind, Jay, and I'll ask for a very honest answer.
The rules do allow it, yes.
Right. Alastair, how many cats have you eaten personally?
Me, I don't know, 600 or 700.
Mm-hmm. And how many dogs have you eaten?
2.
2 dogs.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I just want to point out that the fact that Alastair has eaten at least 600 to 702 cats and dogs is horrible. I think we all know as actual human beings that that is a grotesque statistic. And I'd also like to point out something as well. Alastair and I are in a sketch troupe together. We've improvised much together. We've traveled the world together, and I have never seen him eat a cat. I've never seen him eat a dog. In fact, I have seen him eat only food that humans ordinarily eat. I would suspect probably that Alastair is making these arguments having never actually eaten a dog or cat in his life. So, I mean, can we trust someone who won't even put his money where his mouth is and actually consume a cat or a dog? If Alastair was willing to eat a cat or a dog right now in this debate, I'll concede. I will concede defeat. But if he is unwilling to do that, I'm sorry, I have to contend that he has never actually eaten a cat or dog.
Some very, very strong points, Connor. Now, remember, Alastair and Connor, you're both under oath, so anything you say can be used against you in the virtual court of law. And so I'll give you each now 1 minute for your final rebuttal before we move into the next round, which is the hypothetical situation. Alastair?
Yeah, of course. I mean, again, I hate to do this, but I have to point out that Connor once again is using 2 different logical fallacies this time, which is very bad for a debate topic. The first, of course, is the ad hominem fallacy. For those who don't know, that is when someone is afraid or unable to address the argument at hand, which is tastier, cats or dogs, so they resort to attacking the character of the person presenting the argument. Does nothing to further discussion on the topic, and some might say a tactic that is downright catty. I'd say that's a pretty good fee line, if you ask me. The second is, it's, of course, a fallacy to do the no you argument. I, of course, pointed out that the debate is about the tastieress cats or dogs, and then Connor used that saying he was moving the goalpost, and then Connor was like, no, you're moving the goalpost. Not a great argument tactic. Also, I want to point out, he said, it's horrible that I've eaten 700 cats and 2 dogs, and then moments later said, I've never eaten a cat or dog. That doesn't seem to have a lot of consistency in his argument. I think I've just proven again and again, cats are the tastier meat. I don't know what else to say.
Great. And Connor, you have time for one final rebuttal.
Sure. It was not contradictory to ask how many dogs you've eaten. I was simply catching you in a lie, which you obviously have never eaten a cat or a dog. It was a logical trap that you fell into quite handily. And I think I have to admit that certainly, usually in debates, ad hominem attacks are signs of weakness. But when the character of one's opponent is so obviously flawed and morally decrepit, how can not the subject at hand be dragged down into the mud as Alastair has dragged us today? I mean, I'm just following where he has led us by manipulating the subject matter into something that really should turn the stomach, not fill the stomach, as Alastair would have you believe, but turn the stomach of all of our viewers today. So
sure, if you're eating dog.
Again, I'll leave that. I'll just leave that with you.
Wonderful. Very strong from both sides right there. Again, I'm remaining as impartial as I can. And now as you're watching this, remember, this is the court of public opinion. So it's not necessarily what's the right one, but what you feel is the right one. So in the comment section, please go ahead and we will update our score right now. Put who you think is in the lead based on what you've heard up to this point. Is it Connor or Alastair? Put that in the comment section. It is now time for us to move on to the hypothetical round. And I've actually got two hypotheticals for you. And this first one is, I want you all, and I will give you 30 seconds, you are going to list the top 5 cats and the top 5 dogs of all time. That's the first part. So go ahead, think to yourself right now, I'll give you 30 seconds, the top 5 cats of all time and the top 5 dogs of all time. And folks watching, this is the hypothetical round. I'm going to throw out a couple of hypothetical situations that these two have not been able to prepare. They prepared their opening statements, but they have not been able to prepare this right now. So in the comments section right there, go ahead and type in who you think up to this point in the court of public opinion is in the lead. Is it Connor Thompson with, again, hammering home the facts and actually addressing arguments in what Alastair has presented? Or is it Alastair who seems to still want to continue on what's a tastier meat, cat or dogs? But based on what you've heard so far, who do you think is winning? Go ahead and put that in the comments section. Ozga from Copenhagen is rooting for Alastair, so she's combined the two of you as if one entity, which I guess is fair. That's fair. Again, this is the court of public opinion.
Well, exactly. People can, there are two sides to every coin in the sense that we are one entity. I am using facts and arguments, and he is the opposite of that, using nonsense and changing the subject completely.
Yes.
Jay, are you sure you're remaining impartial in this?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I am. As you could see, anytime that it might seem like I'm laughing, but that's really just a gauge to keep me. I'm very close to just being so appreciative of the fact that we have two master debaters right here arguing both sides of a topic. And
Okay.
and
Sorry,
again, this is going to come down to the public opinion. I'm just the referee.
May I just clarify that as well for this round? We are writing the 5 of our own.
Yes.
I'm just writing the top 5 dogs. I was writing the top 5 cats. Great.
That's correct. Yep. You are writing what you think are your top 5 of your creature right there. And great. That is, we're going to wrap up time right there. Alastair has been going first this round. However, Connor, I'd like to have you go first. Who, in your opinion, are the top 5 dogs of all time?
Well, it's tough, dogs have, traditionally.
And that's 30 seconds.
Again, he has no concept of time, logic, or I believe place. So it's tough to carry on with this.
And to be fair, I was giving you 30 seconds to come up with it, not a 30-second round.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
that's fair enough. It's a simple mistake. I'll give you actually the top 5 fictional dogs I came up with. I think we can all agree that real dogs, the dogs that we all love and cherish and own and take into our homes, we rescue them from humane societies. We curl up with them by the fire. They are all tied. Actual dogs are all tied at number 1.
Right.
course. Every living dog is tied in my first spot. However, going down after that, we have wonderful examples of dogs represented in culture. Is a broad subject, of course. We could start with Old Yeller, a classic tearjerker of a tale. But I want to just highlight a couple dogs that stand out to me. One is Odie from the Garfield comics. Odie is arguably the heart and soul of that comic, subjected repeatedly to abuse and violence at the hands of Garfield, who is a cat.
We should eat him.
I'm sorry?
We should eat him.
Yeah, okay.
Garfield, I mean.
Odie is a true hero in the face of a lot of adversity. So he's a great example of a wonderful dog. I think Wishbone from the TV show Wishbone is a wonderful dog who got to have many adventures, reenacting dozens of classic literary tales and wearing wonderful costumes. Air Buds, one through infinity, taught us how to, through the power of sport and teamwork, overcome the adversity one faces when trying to join a basketball team when you're actually a dog. Which, anyone who's gone out, who's tried to be a walk-on, in those varsity sports knows it's an uphill battle, but he did it, and, props to him. And then dogs, I don't know where I'm at here. Obviously, the list can go on. I just want to point out a very special group of dogs, the 101 Dalmatians, which, again, faced with almost insurmountable odds, managed to evade a terrible fate. And what's more, also, I believe several of them grew up to be Supreme Court judges. So good for them.
That's wonderful. That brings us to 5 right there. Very interesting tactic to categorize several as one, but the rules will allow it. Alastair, your top 5 cats, please.
Oh, great. I just want to say that was a great list from Connor. I agree. All those dogs are fantastic. And all the dogs that people have rescued as number 1 is lovely. Just as, rescue cows and rescue pigs and rescue cats are all lovely too. The top 5 cats, I think, in no particular order, because, this is a famous raging cat debate amongst cat delicatists around the world. I would say, in no particular order, Siamese Flank is up there. Tabby Bacon, very good. Con the Tiger from Aladdin Sausage. It's one of the best breakfasts you can have. Magical Mr. Mustopheles' T-bone and eyes. That's a British meal. And of course, Grumpy Cat tartar sauce. That's a delicacy that goes with any meal. So those are probably my top 5.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Both tactics are appealing right now to what you already have as your base of the public opinion. And so let's move on to one final hypothetical situation. All humans have been removed from the earth today. 1 year from now, will there be more cats or more dogs on the planet? Let's say, Alastair, we'll start with you.
Well, obviously there'll be more cats. I mean, cats are slaughtered by the millions for dinner everywhere. So without the humans around to do that, they'll just grow in an absurd amount of population.
Wonderful. And popularity, obviously.
And popular, yeah, they'll be very popular, yeah.
Connor?
Actually, funny enough, I will agree with Alastair. I think there would be more cats, only because dogs, noble creatures as they are, would offer to sacrifice themselves in order to save other species. They would likely give their food to cats and other animals, and though it would mean their ultimate extinction, they would likely band together to do that in order to preserve life itself.
Yeah, cats would eat the dogs for sure, just as we eat the cats.
Wonderful. Really nice. That ends our hypothetical round and moves us into our final round. So these are your closing arguments, gentlemen, your closing arguments. Alastair, you will have the floor first. And those of us watching on Facebook, please keep your tally score sheet. And if you don't have your tally score sheet, you can always get one by grabbing a piece of paper, writing the names of each of our debaters on one side, and then putting a tick mark right there next to it. But these are your closing arguments, and then we will go to the final vote. Alastair?
Of course, closing arguments. I mean, from the get-go, I've contended that cats taste better than dogs, and I think that I've proved that conclusively. My esteemed opponent has unfortunately chosen to use logical fallacy after logical fallacy to avoid addressing my argument specifically. Just one final point, and we were both on the wonderful debate reveal call where you held up the signs, cats versus dogs. At no point Did we specify whether it is as an animal as a whole or the tastier meat? And I think I went with the popular choice, what most people argue when they argue cats versus dogs. And to say that I misunderstood the argument is quite erroneous, and I feel bad for my opponent.
And you are correct. We didn't say what specifically, and this is going to fall to the court of public opinion.
Did everyone see Connor's dog meat there in the background?
His what?
His dog mate. His wonderful wife was holding the dog he's been growing to eat for the last few years.
Well, Connor, you have the final closing argument here.
Thank you, Jay. Again, I want to apologize to our viewers on behalf of myself and my opponent, someone who is clearly mentally unstable and who has attempted over and over to drag this debate into the muck, as you would say. I've chosen to rise above it. As I mentioned in my opening statement, humankind has been learning from dogs from the beginning. As I said, literally, we learned to travel and hunt in packs by observing wolves. And we still are learning from dogs today. If I may, a brief personal story. We do own a dog here. His name's Toby. The day we brought him home from the Humane Society was one of the best days of my life. Yeah, you got to adopt, don't shop, people, right? Now, it was February 7th, 2017, and in Toronto that day was some inclement weather, an ice storm. And even before he got in the house, Toby was making an impact. And Jay, I sent you a video. I was wondering if you could show the video I sent here as part of the closing argument.
As a matter of fact, I can. Let's go ahead and tune into that right there.
Right.
Ah, okay. It seems like I didn't get a video to send. It's
So this is a video of the day Toby came home, and that's just a human being. You can see having trouble.
Who is that?
That's you, Alastair. That's you.
You can't prove that. You can't prove that's me.
Now, in a moment, you'll see Alastair struggling to get up the stairs. It's icy. Of course, it's icy. But look at this. Ready? As we see there is Toby. You can pause it there, Jay. Thank you. So as you can see that Toby has already made it up the stairs. He has shown Alastair the way, how to do it. And yet Alastair refused to learn how to climb the stairs. My point being simply that, of course, Toby, before even getting in the house, was showing us as humans the way to live. And it wasn't his fault that Alastair was incapable of learning the lesson. Now, I think the world would be a better place, though, don't you, Jay, and the audience, if we all learned our lessons from dogs like Toby. And yes, here he is. If everyone wants to see him, he's put on his tuxedo for the day. And Alastair, I'm sure, will make some snide comment about him looking delicious. But you know, we would never eat him. He's the light of our lives over here. So thank you very much.
I just have to say, I feel like I've won the debate because I got Connor, while holding his dog, said to say we would never eat him.
Well, we're about to.
Apparently, it needs to be said, Alastair. Apparently, that kind of messaging actually at this day and age, in the 2020 that you would have.
Well, we're about to find out, gentlemen, because now we turn it over to our public in the court of public opinion. So please type in the comment section if you think Connor won that debate or Alastair won that debate in cats v dogs. And we will tally up the votes right now. And as they're coming in, I'm going to just have a tick mark. Again, I told the audience about our very complicated scoring system. Have a piece of paper, and then you're just going to make a mark on there on who won. So in our comment section right now, go ahead and put either Connor or Alastair, and that will determine who's going to win. So far, we have one vote for Connor. We have Toby now with one vote. So it's Connor and Toby 1-1. Oh, Alastair has one vote right there. Marcus Kerr votes for Connor right there. Wow. Kevin votes. Now, Kevin, are you voting for Alastair for this debate? Because he put Alastair Thompson for president. So I guess that's one for each of you.
Yes.
Looks like Toby is running. Toby is running away with this right now. Great. So everybody seems to be voting for Toby right now, gentlemen.
I don't think Toby presented very good arguments at all.
I think he said the most by saying the least.
We do have a runaway victor right now. Gentlemen, Toby has won the debate, cats v. dog. And so I think I'd like to say thank you both very much. You both put up very, some would say strong arguments, and some would say very unique, almost tangential arguments as well to the topic right there. Again, I'm just going from the court of public opinion, and it seems that Toby has come out victorious. So kudos for Toby. Nice job. It goes, the less you say, the more you have an impact right there. Thank you both for joining us. Would you like to have any final closing thoughts in the matter? And Connor, we'll start with you. Any final closing thoughts to the audience?
I just would like to thank you again, Jay, for having me. Thank you, Alastair, for putting up such a pathetic argument. Thank you to Toby, who again shows us that, it doesn't take much, to bring joy and happiness into the world. All you need is to, not fall into the grips of a murderous dog eater like Alastair, and you'll be fine.
I want to echo, Jay, this has been so much fun. Thanks for having us. Connor, always a pleasure to debate you, even though you use logical fallacies. And I'll end with something like Connor said, because cats taste better, I too would never eat Toby.
Great. And thank you for tuning in to the Court of Public Opinion. Next week, we have two wonderful performers who are going to be battling out again in the Court of Public Opinion. Jillian Bellinger against Landon Lee Kirksey. So tune in this same time next week, 10 a.m. LA time. On Sunday at 10 a.m., we do the live reveal right there. Gentlemen, congratulations. You've made it through the Court of Public Opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.